If you've ever watched or read anything about what celebrities wear, you've definitely heard of Hermes. From the Kardashians, who are huge fans of the brand, to royal figures, Hermes has made its way into every closet one way or another. The company has been named the most luxurious several times throughout its history. In fact, if you look up a list of the most expensive bags in the world, Hermes Birkins not only top the list, but they make up most of it. So, whether you're a fashion enthusiast, a business student, or just interested in incredible stories, this video is a must-watch. Stay with us as we take you through the path of Hermes, its past and present, and how it has become one of the top 3 fashion brands in the world. Almost every high fashion brand we've heard of is a product of France, and Hermes is no exception. Founded in 1837, Hermes was created by French businessman Thierry Hermès. However, what is now a multi-billion-dollar company didn't start out that way. Born in 1801 in Krefeld, Hermes was the 6th child of his parents. Krefeld is a German city right now, but back then, under Napoleon's leadership, it was on French grounds, therefore earning him the country's citizenship. During the war, unfortunately, Thierry Hermès lost his entire family, some to brutal attacks and others to diseases that spread at the time. He had become an orphan at a young age, and with his family gone, he had nothing left to stay for. So he moved to France in 1821. Arriving in the city of Normandy, he settled in a small town. Having some previous knowledge of textiles, Hermes looked for a job in the area, while teaching himself to handle leather in order to increase his work opportunities. Ultimately, he became employed by the Plumer family, who owned a leather production company. Hermes spent many years in the city learning about the production of leather and leather products. He also learned a lot about the business from the man, Monsieur Plumer, who had hired him. In 1828, Thierry Hermès married Christine Pirot, and less than a decade later, the couple moved to Paris. Having significant skills at and knowledge of leather and manufacturing products from it, he immediately set up a shop in order to make and sell horse harnesses and saddles. He had customers who bought items for their traps and carriages, and a very specific stitch that could only be done by hand, which was his core competency at the time. His business grew very quickly, and in time his shop was famous among society's elites. Celebrities, European royalty, and the emperor's family were all Hermes's customers. Soon, he was able to develop his business and make more items such as handbags and trunks. Hermes was a family business and was run by the Hermes blood for many years before outsiders became involved. After Thierry Hermes, his son Charles Emile took over, and once Charles' son Emile and Adolphe were old enough, he put the company in their hands. The brothers decided to name the company Hermes Frères, or Hermes Brothers. Funny enough, Adolphe left everything to Emile, as he thought the business would never become successful. Emile, on the other hand, was keen on making Hermes a worldwide favored brand. So, when he noticed the demand for trunks and saddles was increasing by those who traveled frequently, he focused on producing travel goods made of leather to fulfill those needs. He sold saddles and other leather-made products to other countries' royalties, employing about 100 craftsmen by 1914. Once automobiles came into the picture, Hermes was quick to jump on that train too, getting a 2-year patent for the Hermes fastener, a zipper created by the company in 1923. Throughout the 1920s, Emile ran Hermes on his own, adding accessories and clothing to the brand. And if you're wondering when the famous Hermes handbags came into the mix, it was around 1922. Emile's wife said that she couldn't find a leather bag she liked, and being the man he is, Emile designed the first Hermes leather bag collections himself to fit his wife's taste. Hermes had some great innovative products as well, such as the forever famous crocodile bag, named Kelly after Grace Kelly, or the Hermes scarves, which became a part of French couture and fashion. In the 1930s, Hermes started making a presence in the US, selling its items in department stores in New York, but that didn't last long. However, its withdrawal from the US market barely hurt the company, and it launched its first perfume, the famous Eau d'Hermes, in 1945. created by Jean-Claude Ellina, who made many other perfumes for the brand. By then, Hermes had also stepped into the world of watches, collaborating with Genève on signature watch designs. Hermes changed the idea and style of clothing forever and made a huge impact in the fashion world. Ones that would affect Coco Chanel and many brands who made notes of Hermes' fast-growing popularity among the public. In 1950, Emile found that he could not handle the business on his own and had his son-in-laws Robert Dumas and Jean-René Guerrand take over. The two men were the first who had no direct relation to the Hermes family, so they added the last name to their own. With the contribution of his children and other family members, Emile Hermes changed the course of the brand forever. Despite its success in the 1970s, after having several shops around the world, Hermes started facing a downfall and its profits declined in comparison to competitors. The main reason for this was identified as Hermes insisting on using natural materials, while others were experimenting with synthetic ones. But there was a turn of events, and natural products were back in demand, and so was Hermes. In 1978, Jean-Louis Dumas' son, who had studied markets and customers in the US, took over the firm. Jean-Louis targeted a younger audience with marketing campaigns that involved young men and women wearing Hermes scarves and holding Hermes bags. This image change had a magnificent impact on the firm, both internally and externally, even in other countries. By 1980s, having added house items and tableware to its list, Hermes had over 30,000 pieces to sell, including the popular Birkins, which have become collectibles today. The brand opened stores in the US, Europe, and its first in Beijing in 1996. In 2003, Jean-Paul Gaultier, a famous designer, was hired by Hermes and created a boom in the fashion industry with his first collection for fall and winter in 2004. Dealing with a long illness, Dumas retired in 2006 and died in 2010. Patrick Thomas, who worked as co-CEO alongside Dumas, took over as the first person outside of the Hermes name who ran the company. By 2015, Hermes' turnover had increased by 4 billion euros, and it grew internationally. The biggest Hermes store was opened in Dubai Mall in UAE in 2018. Thierry Hermès' legacy has always been an important key in the brand. Every year, Hermes chooses a color and a few limited items inspired by its background and unique inspirations, all of which it owes to its original founder. Hermes is a legend in the fashion world and a major influence in the industry. The biggest fashion events and red carpets rely on its designs, and it is definitely a trendsetter. This is why knowing the history of a company as amazing as this one and its impacts is important. The emphasis on originality and luxury in Hermes is truly admirable, and we hope you enjoyed learning about this story. If you liked this video, watch us talk about the history of Gucci, another fashion icon, in another video.